Howdy. This is a 60s model Harmony Sovereign H1260. This is a pretty famous guitar from the 60s. A lot of people know it as the Jimmy Page or Pete Townsend model Harmony. It was also made popular by blues artists like Big Bill Broonzy, although his is not in any kind of condition like this. This particular guitar is solid spruce top, mahogany back and sides. It is a ladder braced guitar. So instead of having the X brace, it has the ladders going across, which actually produces a real open and unique sound. Very loud, punchy guitar. I'm actually using a very light gauge pick, so that sound is really coming from the guitar, not from just a pick or something like that. One of the biggest flaws with this guitar is the necks were very, we'll just say, poorly set most of the time, which gave you extremely high action. This particular guitar has had a, we'll just say, amateur reset, neck reset on it. The neck set is solid, it's not going anywhere, but the thing to note is that a shim was not put under the fretboard right here, and so you have a little more than the average amount of drop off on the fretboard. Now, is that a serious thing? No, it's not. It could very easily be, heated and pulled up if you wanted to put a shim under it, but most people would agree that you can't play past the 14th fret anyways, and having drop off like that is kind of is something that a fretboard should have a little bit of anyways, so it's kind of a non-issue, but if someone really wanted to get that done. But the important stuff is the neck plays extremely quick and low the way it should. So it's got it where it needs to have it. So playing bar chords up the neck is not a problem. Also, as far as buzzing, you're not really hearing. The other flaw with these guitars is they had a very unique bridge shape. A lot of guitar companies actually borrowed the idea of this shape, but then of course improved upon it. The first one I think about is Taylor and Takamine. One thing that the person that reset the neck had to do, of course, is cut a new saddle for this guitar. Usually the saddles on these guitars were very thin, a lot thinner than the average saddle. We're talking about maybe a quarter of an inch, if not thinner, for a saddle. So the first thing you wanted to do is put it at a thicker saddle like a traditional saddle would be. But when you had to route for that particular spot, the routing made it long like a pre-war Martin style saddle. Unfortunately, he didn't have a piece of bone that was long enough, so this is a piece of solid hickory, which is a very dense, hardwood that they use a lot of times for archtop bridges and things of that nature. That's been hand carved and fitted for this particular bridge. Another small thing he did was he sculpted the bridge back a little bit so as not to have as severe a break angle on the strings. It does still have a pretty solid break angle, but that actually gives it a pretty nice tight sound back here. A lot of tight resonance against the top. In inspecting the guitar, this pickguard is original. There are no top cracks, side cracks, or back cracks visible anywhere on the guitar. There's very little to no checkering of the finish. The tuning keys are original, as is the truss rod cover, and of course the headstock showing the pretty crown and shield moniker is in very good condition. The nut is original, nylon, so if someone wanted to replace that they could, but it's a nylon nut. You know, these guitars were not designed for the high-end market. These were not competing necessarily against the high-end Gibsons or Martins. But for the money, they were an excellent value, and they still are. This is the guitar, according to pictures and interviews with Jimmy Page, that he used to record a lot of the songs on the Led Zeppelin 4 album. And so it's got a very unique tone, very unique shape. It's really a really fun guitar. Got a lot of ring, would make an excellent guitar. But nonetheless, this one has been, as I said, an amateur neck reset, but it is a solid repair. So, I mean, this is a guitar that you can get for a great price and have kind of that piece of 60s history, but not have to pay a king's ransom for. And it plays and intonates correctly. So, I mean, it's not for some collector that's looking for some kind of time machine, time capsule find to put in a case and just look at, but it would be great for a singer-songwriter or just some guy that's looking for that classic tone, but maybe wants to save a little money and not have to pay the full collectible prices and still have a very playable guitar. So that pretty much concludes the demo of the Harmony H1260 Sovereign guitar.